Hey, this is Joe Markowitz with today's Liberty Dispatch. Let me get right down to it, and I want you to hear me out. This is going to be a lot different than that I've been putting out lately, but I want you to hear me all the way through. You know, it's pretty obvious that it seems like America and our society is just coming apart at the seams. It's been a long time since our country has been that shining city on the hill that Ronald Reagan would talk about. It's been a long time since people would say that they're really proud of our country. In my whole life, I have not seen a country so divided. I have not seen this amount of hate and vitriol and closed-mindedness to fellow Americans. I haven't seen this amount of anger and this amount of distress and despair. I haven't seen this amount of distrust in our government and our American institutions. It seems like our cities are decaying. Lawlessness and crime are just rampant. They've become, the economy is really struggling. The amount of hopelessness and helplessness that they don't feel like they can make a difference and they can change anything. That people are feeling like they're less and less in control of their future, less and less control of their economic future, their family's future, and they fear greatly what their children are going to inherit in the land. I mean, this is what I'm going to tell you. It's not an abstract phenomenon. It is clearly fact that our country has become more secular and moved further and further away from religion and God in terms of the fabric, the moral fabric of our society, and where you have the rise in secularism and decline in God and religion, you're always going to see a decline in our freedom and our personal liberty. The greater the godlessness, the more fear. The more fear, the less freedom. And here's the issue. Americans inherently know there's something seriously wrong. They just know it, and they long for national. Many people like to put the blame on an individual, like a president. Many people, I remember not too long ago, so many people put the blame on President Obama. They believe that our division in our society and American culture and racism really came in with President Obama. Other people think that the whole source of our national ills is because of President Trump. This outsider who came into the public square, he was never a politician. He came in and became president of the United States, and he's so evil that they're perfectly okay with the weight of the federal government and DOJ and the criminal justice system to try to bury this guy because he's evil. A lot of people I hear today say, hey, it's President Biden. He's just a Manchurian candidate. He's been placed there by the global cabal. And so all these talking heads and even people that even watched our Liberty Dispatches, they try to ask, well, who's right and who's wrong? But that is not the question we should be. While this country is being torn apart at the seams, we shouldn't be asking, well, who's right, who's wrong? We shouldn't have all these talking heads talk about, who we should have in power, and who should be the president, who should be in charge of the Senate and the House of Representatives, etc. They'll talk about it ad nauseum. The fact is, there is so much evil rampant in our society, and people wonder why this all happened. Why is this taking place? Here's the error. The error is when we as Americans start looking at the government or an individual, a man or a woman, to be that politician that's going to come in and save the day. That's the error. It is small-minded. We as Americans, we long for redemption and love in our society, in our community. We long for truth and honor and integrity again, and respect for people, respect for each other. We long for this. We know that it's missing. We long for peace. We long for kindness. We long for community again. We long for the idea that we can trust each other again. We long for justice and truth. We want to hope again. We want to dream again. We long for our independence again, our freedom again. We long for opportunity again. We long for these things. We long to be happy again. We want to live again. Hear me out. We long for God. That old scripture that says, if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray, seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I'll hear from heaven. I'll forgive their sins, and I'll heal their land. If we think that national healing is going to come from our guy, that we got to get elected, or a political party, or the government to kind of come and save the day again, we are mistaken. That's a fantasy. He's going to come when we people remember who we are, when we realize what belongs to us, when we now start speaking up, when we humble ourselves and pray, when we take back our families, our marriages, take back our schools, take back our society, our community, and we take back our beloved republic, then we will see that national healing. I believe this with all my heart. Thank you for listening. This is today's Liberty Dispatch.